Hanson, I think you're up.
So thanks for letting me come up and present to you today. I especially want to also thank, we have a lot of our teachers in the audience today that I'm sure are very interested in where our teacher compensation model discussion is going, and I really appreciate their involvement. In fact, as I look around, I see a lot of people who were involved on our compensation committees. I see people who are on our superintendent advisory council who have provided their thoughts as well. You know, this is our teachers deserve a compensation framework and to know where this is going. This is a process that's been in motion for some time now through different administrative changes and things like that. And I know I've had conversations with some of them where they said, we want it. We keep hearing that this is coming. And I said, all I can give you is my word that this is coming to the finish line, and I feel that we're about to cross that finish line here. So I provided a kind of extensive executive summary that we'll put on the public end too, that tried to give you a lot of background, because I know that with how our time frames are tonight, I don't want to take too much time. I don't want to leave time for questions and things like that. You know, key reasons that we are looking to replace the compensation framework, there's a number of them laid out with our current scorecard or points-based type system that I put in that document. You know, the other big picture pieces, as you have already heard over past meetings, our framework is too complicated to really be well understood, as well as to be a motivating factor. It has a tendency to appear more punitive rather than rewarding exceptional expertise. The transparency around it has been questioned at times in past years. And some of the other details, very complicated. I think 24-page document that became the framework, very difficult to really understand what are we getting at, what is our goal, what is our focus with this. In the feedback that we received from multiple compensation committees, which we have multiple representatives here tonight with us, other staff groups, other staff individually, superintendent advisory council members, really, there's a balance that's wanted. There's wanted to be valuing longevity, continuous, strong, high-quality service to the district, while also valuing expertise and giving teachers an opportunity to be actively engaged in a positive way in the framework to accelerate their pay if they so choose to do so. So what we're looking at as we reviewed kind of all the different types of models that are out there is a model that really focuses on those two key areas, longevity and then added expertise, and how can we compensate for each. So as part of this model, it starts with that foundation of the board having that opportunity each year that it budgets to say, okay, what kind of compensation increase are we able to give teachers? How are we performing in the marketplace? How do we remain competitive? We've been in a decent spot in terms of retention. Our retention rates the last couple of years for teaching staff have been right in the 6 to 7% range as far as turnover. So we're retaining our staff, but we need to remain competitive in the marketplace, and that's where those year-to-year increases play an important role for sure. On top of that, we want to be able to have the opportunity to recognize great expertise. There's been a lot of discussion about the different ways you can show expertise in the field of education. So there's some of your more traditional paths that you might think of, such as a master's degree in your content area, additional licensures in really critical areas that really enhance that teaching practice. Then there's also other areas that are maybe less traditional that we want to open the doors for that as well, because we think they provide value. So one of the items that was discussed in the spring when the previous HR director came to the board, and there were a number of members of that compensation committee here at that time as well, were maybe someone that's not, there's a lot of staff that maybe they don't want to go back and get an entire additional master's degree, but there are expertise areas they'd love to grow in and put that expertise into action, and that's where the discussion led to things such as micro-endorsements, micro-credentials, things like that. We'd like for that to be able to be a part of the compensation plan, As we've done some investigating, you know, it's also become very apparent that we have to be very protective of the dollars that the district has. So we really need to do our homework in researching what sort of alternative, maybe non-traditional options are available. We've seen a number of micro-credential, micro-endorsement vendors that have options out there that we do not believe are of high quality and going to make an impact both in the learning of the educator or in the learning of the student. We have seen some that we feel we would be able to say, yes, this is really going to make an impact on learning and be worthy of our citizens' dollars going towards that. As we've done that investigation, what we've also found is that as there's been a number of micro-credential companies that maybe aren't as strong as we had hoped, there are some university connections that are out there that we are working on. So universities that I spoke with another one just last week that are putting together kind of customized solutions for districts looking for these kind of, hey, listen, can we put 3 courses together that are impactful around trauma-sensitive education or around this particular literacy element? We're seeing a lot of hope with that kind of partnership where, listen, it's all of our teachers are in different seasons of their life. They might not be in a point where they're saying, I want to invest in a 36 credit or master's degree, but boy, I'd love to increase my expertise in this area, and for a few, you know, micro credentials or micro courses offered through a really qualified venue like a university, can obtain that expertise, put it into action, and be compensated additionally for that expertise. So we're really, I'm very positive about the direction that we are taking this, in that there's lots of options for our staff. Our staff are not here at 7 o'clock at night just for their own fun. They want to have options that engage them in their compensation. They want to have options for whatever part of the period of their career they may be in. And that's really what we're trying to provide, while at the same time ensuring that all of the options for compensation increases are high quality, good use of our taxpayer dollars, that we're not just pulling every possible course or micro-credential or off the shelf that do that and you get additional money. It's really got to be meaningful. And we heard that at our compensation committees as well, and I see a lot of head nods. We don't want to go rogue and come up with something that really isn't going to make an impact in the expertise of the great teachers we already have, and especially in the lives of our students. So I'll take some questions. I do have some other documents I'll quick pass around that we'll put on public access as well, just to give you an idea of how we're kind of shaking out the organization of our compensation model framework design and that sort of thing. The first document I'll pass around to you is really just kind of a layout, maybe a table of contents per se, of all the sections of the compensation model that I've been kind of pulling together so that we make sure we cover all the elements that are important to our staff, to the board, to the community. And I'll pass that around. We also recognize from our previous experience that there's certain things that we need to review annually as a school district, as a school board. So in our previous framework, there's a lot really laid out back in 2014 in terms of dollar amounts for things, you know, salary scales, things like that. And when they were in that, all in that comprehensive compensation document, well, that made it more challenging to update things. For example, if we want to update our starting teacher salary, which has remained static since that initial implementation of that compensation model, that's in the comp model. We'd really like to have a process in place through the comp model where annually you have the opportunity as a board to review all of those kind of marketplace competitiveness type decisions. So I'll send this around and then field questions that you have right now.
Lenny, when you send it around, what's your timeline? When do you want to come back to the board saying, you know what, we've got some more input from our teachers, we have more input from the administrators, the cabinet, and we think this is what we have? What's your timeline for that?